Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing with chapter number 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. We will start with 34. We left off at 33 last Tuesday. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, text number 34. Chanchalahi manaha Krishna pramati balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayur iva sudushkaram. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the mind. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Urmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we can see in this chapter, we have been instructed. In fact, Krishna is instructing Arjuna, and in the process, we are getting the benefit because we are learning about Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. So now we have come to those verses wherein Krishna is going to talk about the mind. And the conversation has already started with Arjuna making it very clear from his experience. He is telling Krishna that the mind, first of all, is restless. I'm quite sure we all have experienced that. It's turbulent, it's obstinate, and very strong. And according to Arjuna, he thinks that it is more difficult to control the mind than to control the wind. Now we all know it's almost impossible to control the wind. So imagine how difficult it would be to control the mind. So today we are going to learn about controlling the mind. Now one may say that, yes, the mind is restless. Can it be made peaceful? Can we calm the mind? Yes, definitely. If we follow the instructions given to us by Krishna in this chapter and also in other chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that even though the mind is turbulent, obstinate, strong, restless, we can still control it. How? By disciplining the mind. Just like a child does not know what is right, what is wrong, and the child needs training, child needs discipline. So Srila Prabhupada explains that just like the child needs training, similarly, the mind also needs to be trained. And one of the very easy methods of controlling the mind or making it peaceful is to do mantra meditation. Man means the mind, and tra means to free the mind of all anxieties, free the mind from all restlessness, free the mind of all turbulence, whatever there may be. So this mantra is very, very powerful. These are powerful sound vibrations. So when we chant, when we do this meditation by chanting the holy names of the Lord, then this meditation, which is given to us by Krishna himself, the Supreme Lord, that can help us to deliver our mind from all these anxieties. The mind, just like the child, say supposing the child is, instead of playing with the toys, is in a destructive mood, wants to break the toys and create a mess or whatever, just by telling the child, stop it, it's a lot of destruction, stop it, the child is not going to listen at all. But if the child is given a proper engagement, something that would be interesting and something which is going to give him a higher taste, then definitely he's going to give up all that destruction and start on the other work that we will give the child. Similarly, the mind works the same way. The mind needs proper engagement. To give up the lower taste, the mind needs to get higher taste. And by chanting the holy names of the Lord, that kind of controls the mind. Why? Because the heart starts getting purified. See, there are a lot of unwanted things in the heart, like lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. There's so much in there. Maybe in a small degree, larger degree, it does not matter. So to remove all those unwanted things, they are called anarthas, unwanted things in the heart. To do that, chanting, doing the mantra meditation by chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then the mind starts becoming peaceful because there is purification happening. Why? Because these are very powerful spiritual sound vibrations. They are not just ordinary material. No, they are very, very powerful sound vibrations. I just got a text that the voice is low. Is that correct? Can everyone hear me okay? I just
Yes,
saw that.
ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So the mind needs proper engagement. Now, for that, the Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by the Supreme Lord Krishna himself, he gives us a simple process of Bhakti Yoga. In my previous classes, we have talked about the yoga ladder, different forms of yoga. But the topmost form of yoga, or the culmination of all the forms of yoga, is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti means devotion. So yoga means connection. So we are connecting with the Supreme Lord Krishna through the medium of devotion, and that's devotional service. And chanting the holy names of the Lord, which is the mantra meditation, is one of the forms of devotional service. So to really be able to control the mind, it's important to understand, what does the mind do? How does it work? Let's say, for example, that there is a chariot. Let's consider this body to be a chariot. And the spirit soul, who we really are, is the passenger in that chariot. Now, the chariot is driven by the horses. Say there are 5 horses. Let's consider them to be the 5 senses. Now, to control the horses, there has to be a rein. And let's consider the mind to be that rein, and the intelligence to be the driver. So what does the driver do? Holds on to the rein to control the horses. So similarly, the driver, which is the intelligence, needs to somehow or the other control the reins, which is the mind. And once the mind is under control, then those horses, which are the senses, which are running in all different directions, will automatically come under control. Now the question arises that, what is it that will help the intelligence to control the mind, the driver to control the reins? How? Very simple. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that one needs to sharpen the intelligence with the help of knowledge. This Bhagavad Gita is actually a spiritual science. So it's teaching us how we can sharpen the intelligence with the help of knowledge. And once the knowledge is taken in, one needs to contemplate on it and put it into practice. And that's how the intelligence will start controlling the mind, and the senses will automatically come under control. There is no special endeavor needed at all. But just like a person is diseased and goes to the doctor, obviously that's the best place to go, because the doctor is qualified or certified to diagnose. And once the diagnosis is complete, the doctor is going to prescribe some medications. Now the patient may fill the prescription, bring the medication home. But if the patient is not going to take the medication as per the prescription of the doctor, if the doctor says one tablet 3 times a day for a week, that is what the patient needs to do. And if the patient follows the instructions given on the prescription, the patient will be able to become healthy again. That applies even to spirituality. So when we are talking about Bhakti Yoga, we're talking about mantra meditation, it has to be done on a daily basis. That's when it's going to help. So just like sharpening the intelligence, we need to accept this knowledge on a daily basis, hear it every day, and put it into practice, which is perform devotional service, which starts with mantra meditation. So when we do that, then everything is going to fall in place. So this is how one can try to control the mind. You see, whatever sufferings or enjoyments that a person feels, it's because of the mind and the senses. It has nothing to do with the soul, the spirit soul. The spirit soul is the real us because we are parts of the Supreme Lord. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that we are Sanatana, we are eternal parts of the Lord. So we are that spirit soul which is eternal within the body, in the heart. This body is just a covering. It's just like I'm wearing a garment to cover my body. Similarly, this body is covering the soul. So whatever enjoyments or sufferings one may face, they are all due to the mind and the senses. The spirit soul remains aloof. And if somehow or the other we can understand, actually chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita explains the foundation of Bhagavad Gita. And the very first instruction is, I am not this body. As soon as one understands, not just theoretically, but also practically, that I am the spirit soul, then a person will be happy. It doesn't matter what the situation is. So the job of the intelligence is to control the mind so that the senses can come under control. You see? And as I was saying, mind is like a child, it needs training. Now, who gives the training? Obviously, a teacher. So similarly, just like we learned in chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, excuse me, that tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnina sevaya. Krishna tells Arjuna, just try to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Learn from him, inquire from him submissively, render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So just like we need a teacher, a bona fide teacher in any aspect of our life, whether I want to learn singing, dancing, music, software, karate, anything, obviously I would need to go to a certified teacher to learn, someone who knows it and someone who has experienced it. So similarly, the mind also needs training under a teacher. Otherwise, the mind is going to remain turbulent, obstinate, restless, strong, all that. But the easy method, Krishna says, Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Eva Kevalam. If we just do that mantra meditation on a daily basis, then we ourselves will notice that the mind is becoming peaceful. In fact, we learned in chapter 5, the very last verse of chapter 5, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarva Lokam Maheshwara Suhuridam Sarva Bhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Richati. Shantim means peace. So he's giving us a peace formula. So if we follow instructions given to us in the Bhagavad Gita, which is like an owner's manual, just like when we buy a new car, we get an owner's manual that tells us how to use that car. Yes, basically we may know, okay, we have to use the key to, start the car, etc., shift gears, whatever. But the intricacies of the motor, the machine, everything we come to know from the owner's manual. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is the owner's manual for this human form of life that teaches us what to do, how to eat, how to sit, how to walk, how to talk, so that we can lead a karma-free life. No more reactions. Let's see what Krishna says in the next verse, which is verse number 35. Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So here's a solution. Krishna is giving a solution. What we need to do: suitable practice and detachment. Now, detachment, one, it's not necessary to focus on detachment. If somehow or the other we can focus on attachment to the Supreme Lord Krishna, then detachment will be automatic. But here Krishna is saying, yes, it is difficult to control the mind, but there's a solution: constant, suitable practice, which means we have to do it on a daily basis. Because since a very long time, our mind is conditioned to think a certain way, to feel a certain way, to will. So what happens? Thinking, feeling, willing takes place in the mind. So we are conditioned in all these activities. So now, to purify the mind, to make it, restful and peaceful, it needs practice, and it has to be suitable practice, which should be constant. Now, supposing I want to I want to learn to swim, and my goal is to perform in Olympics. Do you think I can do that if I practice once in a while to swim? No, it has to be constant practice for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, constantly practice, practice, practice for many, many years. And then possibly I would qualify to be in the Olympics. Same goes with the mind. We have to practice it constantly. Very, very important. And here we see in this verse, Krishna is agreeing. Yes, restless mind is very difficult to control. And so just like, 4 patients may go to the doctor with 4 different kinds of ailments, is the doctor going to give the same medication for all 4? Definitely not. It's going to be different. So also in the Vedic scriptures, there's a very beautiful verse which says, Krite yadhyayato Vishnu tretayam yajatomake dwapare paricharyam kalautad hari kirtana. It gives us a process for self-realization. It gives us knowledge about what is the best method to realize oneself in this age. This age in which we are is called Kali Yuga. In the other ages, the process was meditation, fire sacrifices, elaborate worship, etc. But Kalau Tad. Tad means we get the same benefit like the other ages simply by Hari Kirtanam, by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So we need to follow the prescription that is given to us for this age in which we are. It is not possible for us to, for instance, if patient A has got particular medication and patient B tries that medication, it's not going to work. So in this age, very simple process is there, and it starts with, I'm not sure if you've heard about Prahlad Maharaj, and he gives us the 9 processes of devotional service. And the first one is Shravanam. Shravanam means hearing. Kirtanam, which means chanting. So once we hear the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and then we hear how to control the mind, then we put it into practice. That is Kirtanam. Then we chant. And then the next stage that would happen is Smaranam. Then there's going to be remembrance. So these are the processes given to us even in the Bhagavad Gita. Hearing is very, very powerful. When a person is asleep, The only sense that is active is hearing. Because the eyes are closed, we can't see. We're not talking, we're not doing anything, we're just sleeping. But if there is a little bit of sound, alarm goes off or the dog barks or whatever, immediately we wake up. Why? Because the hearing. Why is it that the Lord has given us 2 ears and only one tongue? That we hear more and talk less. By hearing, the misgivings are removed, doubts are cleared, there is enlightenment. So hearing is very, very important. So the more we hear, the more empowered we become, and the more there is clarity in mind. And then gradually the mind starts getting detached from activities that are unfavorable. Why? Because now the mind has got a higher taste. The mind is relishing the sound vibrations of the holy name, is feeling peace at heart, is feeling the mind is becoming more calm and composed. Why? Because now the mind has got a higher taste. So when we hear the Bhagavad Gita, when we hear, the instructions, when we hear about Krishna, then we start getting gradually attached to the holy name. And then one can say one is getting spiritually enlightened. So the process in this age is performing devotional service. Why? Because the Supreme Lord Krishna is telling us that devotional service will give us satisfaction, and that will help us to even control our mind. And that is how the restless mind can be completely calmed down. Let's see what Krishna says in the next verse, which is verse number 36. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. So here Krishna is giving his opinion very, very clearly. He's making it very, very clear. So he's talking about unbridled mind. What does that mean? Mind which is uncontrolled. So if the mind is not under control, there is no question of self-realization. So that makes it very clear for us that we need to control the mind if we still haven't. And how? He says, strive by appropriate means. Now, how do we figure out what's appropriate? Approach a bona fide teacher. Learn from the teacher. The certified bona fide teacher can teach us. And then Krishna says, success is sure. There will be no failure. One is sure to be successful. And Krishna says, that's my opinion. So we can see when he says, that is my opinion, that gives us an idea that Krishna is giving us the knowledge, but he's not forcing it on us. He's not saying you have to do it. He's saying, here it is. Now we choose. Like in the 15th chapter, verse 15, we will come across this beautiful verse, which says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto mataha smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says, I'm situated in everyone's heart as the super soul. And he says, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So he's giving us these options. Then we make the choice. We choose. He's not forcing us that you have to remember me or you have to take my knowledge. No. So if a person decides that, okay, I'm not interested, I want to forget. So the super soul, which is within the heart, will guide the person accordingly and say, okay, this is what your choice is. So be it. But if one decides that, no, I do want to learn, I do want to take on the knowledge, then the Supreme Lord Krishna will give the opportunity. Why do you think today all of you are here to hear the Bhagavad Gita? Is it because you saw the event posted on Facebook? Is it because you had nothing else to do. No, it's because in your past you have accumulated a lot of piety. You've done a lot of pious deeds. So now you've got the opportunity to hear the spiritual science, which is called Bhagavad Gita. What does Bhagavad mean? Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Gita is a song. So this book is nothing but song of God. And here in this song of God, today we are learning how to control the mind. So you see, he gives us an opportunity, he gives us a choice, but we make the choice and then we have to face the consequences of the choice we make. So we have to decide, do I want to go towards the higher taste or I'm happy where I am? So be it. We have tried, people, I remember reading this somewhere, that there is this lady who is very attached to Disney World. I forget her name. I had written it down somewhere because this is true. And she goes to Disney World every week. And she says that she feels so happy to eat the same food, to go on the same rides, to do exactly the same every week. So my question is, if that gives you happiness, why do you go again? That means you were not satisfied. You were not happy last week. That's why you're going again. See, anything material we do here in the material world has a beginning and it has an end. The happiness has a beginning and it has an end. So how can that give us happiness? No permanent happiness. Why? Because it is for enjoying the senses. That is called sense gratification. It doesn't give happiness. So we have tried for so many years to enjoy, and we are still not completely happy. Why not give self-realization a try? Try to hear Bhagavad Gita and put it into practice. Try mantra meditation. There will be no loss. There's no fee. I don't charge. It's free, absolutely free of charge. These classes are free of charge. So all we have to do is just give it a try. You see? So what happens, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that just like if I am trying to ignite fire, I want to build fire, I'm trying to ignite it, but at the same time I'm pouring water on it. Is it possible to ignite fire? No, it's not possible. So the same analogy works for enjoying the senses. So we are trying, to be self-realized, but at the same time, we are not trying to control the mind. It's not going to work. So it works simultaneously. We need to control the mind, especially through mantra meditation, and not waste the time. So here we can see that it is important to focus the mind. Then self-realization will be easy. And when we chant, the mind gets focused on those sound vibrations that we are hearing. And in this verse, we see Krishna says there has to be suitable practice and detachment. And the suitable practice should be constant. It should be on and on and on, ongoing, not just try one day. It's like we sleep every day, we eat every day, we work every day. So similarly, we should chant every day. Engage the mind in devotional service to Krishna. And this loving devotional service starts with chanting the holy name. Let's see what Krishna says in verse number 37. In fact, it's a verse by Arjuna. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" So this chapter is about Dhyana Yoga. It's talking about the yogis, right? So here we can see that he wants to know, Arjuna is curious to know what is the destination of unsuccessful transcendentalists. So that success is not achieved if a person does not have the basic knowledge of self-realization. And the very first one is, I am not this body. You have to go beyond the bodily concept of life. Second thing to understand is Jivera Swaruphoy Krishnera Nityadas, that the eternal living entity is the eternal servant of Krishna. Krishnera Nityadas. Nitya means eternal. We are eternal servants of the Lord. And our constitutional position is to serve him, perform devotional service. Then we will be able to realize our relationship. We will be able to connect. What is the yoga, meaning of yoga? To connect. Then we will be able to connect with Krishna. And then there's going to be permanent happiness. And guess what? The good news is that even if one, does just a little bit of endeavor on the spiritual path, just a little endeavor in self-realization, there is no loss at all. But whereas you take in the material life, say, if I suppose I finish my high school, I do my graduation, and while I'm doing my post-graduation, I leave it halfway. Do I get the degree? No, I don't. That the whatever time I spent in my post-graduation, years goes waste because I did not complete it. But that is not true with spirituality. If we are on the path of self-realization, then whatever we have endeavored is never lost. It goes into our spiritual bank balance and it gets carried forward to the next life. There is no loss at all. But here, if the transcendentalist, the yogi who is trying to perform mystic yoga, who is you can call him an Ashtanga yogi, a dhyana yogi, or whatever you may call him, that yogi, that transcendentalist, if he's unsuccessful, what is his destination? Why is it that in spite of endeavors, there might be a failure? Let's see what is the next verse, number 38. Almighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? Ooh, that is so powerful. That's really powerful. He is comparing it to a riven cloud. So if the aspiring transcendentalist fails, he loses both ways, materially and spiritually. He does not get to enjoy material happiness, neither does he get spiritual success. He's like a riven cloud. What is a riven cloud? The riven cloud tries to leave the small cloud and tries to join the big cloud. But if it cannot join the big cloud, then the wind blows it away. That's a riven cloud. That means that cloud becomes a non-entity, does not exist. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches us that if one performs Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti means devotion, if one performs devotional service, that's the best process for self-realization. Because Bhakti Yoga, which entails mantra meditation, can help control the mind. Now, of course, when we're talking about self-realization, there are 3 stages of self-realization. Brahmaneti, Paramatmayeti, Bhagwaneti Shabdyate. There are 3 stages. So there is Brahman realization, which is realizing the Supreme Lord as a very effulgence, like an effulgence, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. That is the impersonalism. Then the next stage of realization is Paramatma realization, which is the realization of the Supreme Lord as the super soul within the heart. But Krishna says the topmost is Bhagavan realization, which is realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a personality. Bhagavan, Bhaga means opulences, Van means possessor of those opulences. So these are the 3 stages of realizing. And when one performs Bhakti Yoga, then one comes directly to the topmost stage, which is realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let's do the last verse for today. So this is what Arjuna is saying. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So Arjuna is very, very clear that there is no way anyone else can remove. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So Arjuna is very, very clear that there is no way anyone else can remove. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So Arjuna is very, very clear that there is no way anyone else can remove. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy. There is duplication from the Facebook. I'm sorry about that, but let's continue. Okay, so here we can see that Arjuna has a doubt and he wants to dispel it completely. So he's asking it full-heartedly, like it's not half-hearted. He wants it to be completely dispelled. Doubts should be removed. In fact, Srila Prabhupada explains that doubts are like demons within the heart and they should be destroyed. Because until and unless we remove the doubts, we will not be able to really have clarity. And best way to remove the doubts is to accept knowledge from a bona fide teacher. So, and here why is he saying that it's only you who can remove my doubts? It's because he realizes Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's the one who knows the past, the present, and the future. He knows it all, because he's God. He's the Supreme Lord. So definitely his verdict is going to be final. And he'll definitely give complete answer to all his doubts. And the doubts will be cleared. So it's very important to take on knowledge. Bhagavad Gita does not talk about blind faith. That, okay, just because I say do mantra meditation, you do it. No. Krishna very nicely explains why. He explains how to control this mind. First of all, he agrees that the mind is obstinate, restless, turbulent, strong, difficult to control. But then at the same time, he gives a solution. How? That we do suitable practice and detachment. So knowledge is very, very important. And to get perfect knowledge, we should definitely go to the perfect source, which is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for us to control the mind and make it more restful, make it more calm and composed, the first step we could do is do a little bit of mantra meditation on a daily basis. In fact, in the chat, I will, hold on, I am trying to post some links, and at the end of it, you will see the mantra that I'm talking about. So I will just chant for a little while so you get an idea. And I sincerely hope that you can try it at home on a daily basis. So you can see the mantra at the bottom. So I'll just chant for a little while to give you the hang of it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So you see, it's very, very simple. So please chant on a daily basis and you will yourself see how it's easy to control the mind. It's not difficult at all. Constant practice. And in the chat, I've already put some links if you would like to, check out the Facebook page or YouTube channel where previous recordings are there, or WhatsApp group where we post realizations on a daily basis, and of course the mantra for meditation. So I'm going to stop now. If anyone has any